All right, everybody, welcome back to my channel here on YouTube and everything. This part's going to be brought to you by McKay's Lawn Care, which they are over on Yelp and Nextdoor, and a little bit on Facebook too. Also, Pammy's Backyard Barbecue, they're over on Facebook also. And I'm going down 5 of the things of this big beautiful bill that they're talking about. And it's saying that the largest tax cut in history for the middle class and the working American. According to the Joint Committee on Taxation, the tax bill will most benefit workers and families making less than $50,000 per year. So let's see here. What's the poverty level? 15,650 is the poverty level. Okay, the United States for 2025 set that at 15,650. That's shit. Anyway, for the additional household members, that's for just a single person, single, like me. For additional people in your family, it's another $5,500. So let's just say you have a family of 4, right? 11% of Americans are reported to live below the federal poverty level, and you got a family of 4, so that takes it up to about $37,600 roughly, somewhere in that area. Now you got another $12,400 to play with. Let's see, what are you going to do? With all that money, you got a lot of bills. You got several bills. Let's look and see here. Rent is one of them. That's crazy. If it's $1,700 a month, it's probably around 19,000 a year. So you got your food. I'm not even going to go there. For a family of 4, probably around, I'm going to say 300 a week. So that's roughly about 13,000 a year. So right now you're almost running on empty. Don't forget about your gas for your car so you can go to work. Well, all the taxes come out and they steal your money. Don't forget about electricity, your phone, insurance. Don't even think about going on vacation. Are you nuts? No way. I mean, everybody up in DC deserves a vacation, not you. Crazy. Anyway, you just that's all you're gonna do is work, 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 work. Get in your car, go to work 5 days a week, and then you get one day off on Monday for a holiday. You get paid for that day. Whoop tea. You know, you're just gonna work. Don't forget, if you got a pet, you gotta take that pet to the vet, and you gotta put the food out for them. You gotta get their shots, all that good stuff. You got your vehicle, everything. You got maintenance for your vehicle, maintenance for your pet, maintenance for your family, doctor visits, people getting a cold. What else? Birthday parties. If you have a family of 4, you're going to have birthday parties. Hello. Don't forget about Christmas. Don't forget about all holidays. Don't forget about any of that stuff. And don't put it on a credit card. And I tell you what, if you do all that stuff, put it on a credit card, that's just nuts. At 36% interest or whatever it is. Anyway, that's the first part of this the bill he's talking about that they have already put into play. The largest tax cut in history. Now remember, these tax cuts, whenever they kick in, and you're used to getting that $10,000 to $15,000 back at the tax return season, blah blah blah, it's going to go way down. And then the second one, it says bigger paychecks of $10,000 or more annual take-home pay. It's for families that they get $200 extra in their paycheck, and then it's taxed. So it's not going to be $200 roughly. $10,000 a year makes that sound like a big thing. $10,000. He's a fucking billionaire. Hello, $10,000. He'll probably spend that in a night on food, eating out at his restaurant. Stuff like that. Yeah, okay, I voted for the guy. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I had to say that. Yeah, I did vote for him, and actually, I'm gonna take that apology back because he hadn't fallen asleep, you know, at a conference or anything like that with one of those things on his face. Also, don't forget, he didn't do any FaceTime stuff with that thing on his face all by himself there in the Oval Office. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, number 3, no tax on tips. Let's see. The phrase no tax on tips refers to a provision, of course, in the big, beautiful bill, which allows employees and self-employed individuals to deduct qualified tips received from a taxable income. Let's define this qualified tip. It refers to a cash tips received by individuals. I mean cash. Cash is pretty hard to track. Anyway, such as the wait staff, bartenders, hairdressers, bartistas, baristas, whatever the hell them things are. And these tips must be voluntary. Not telling them, hey man, you're going to pay me this. Like whenever I was at a restaurant the other day with a few friends of mine, and on the ticket it said, this is what your tip's going to be. Yeah, that's against the law. But it was at a Chinese restaurant. I'm not going to mention the name. Anyway, it can't be mandatory to include into a service charge. See, that's right. These tips must be voluntarily. So it can't be included into a service. The amount of the tip should be determined solely by the customer, only. If it's $0, then you suck. If it's $10, then you did fair to decent. But whenever I went to a restaurant down here on Hendersonville Road, I tipped the waiter $30. He did an extremely good job. Anyway, yeah, let's see here. And this means that for the tax year 2025 through 2028, it's only good for 3 years. Workers in qualifying tip occupations can deduct up to $25,000 worth of tips from their taxable income, effectively through reducing their overall tax burden. Let's see. They said it right there. Tax burden. It's a thief. This legislation aims to help workers keep more of their earnings by eliminating taxes on tips received from certain occupations. So, let's see. Certain occupations, tax, tax to me, this is all my opinion. Tax to me is the legal way to steal your money. The way I see it, like Trump said, have just one tax number. Let me throw something out there. If anybody's up to this one, $25. $25 out of your paycheck. Every payday. Just $25. If you make $25 an hour, your first hour goes to them. That's it. Other than that, all the rest of it's your money. I like that. I like that stuff being my money. I don't see none of these necktie wearing son of a bitches out there pushing steel or doing anything. But whenever it comes to payday, they're right there. Give me that. Let's see. No tax on overtime. The no tax on overtime policy is part of the One Big Beautiful Bill again, and applies to non-exempt hourly employees earning under $150,000 an hour. I mean, $150,000 a year. Or $150 grand an hour. Woo-wee. I tell you what, the guy that's the CEO of Lowe's, he makes $11,000 an hour. So he's there. And this policy allows qualifying workers to deduct a portion of their overtime premium pay from their federal tax income, effectively eliminating federal income tax on eligible overtime earnings. The deduction is capped at $12,500 for individuals and $25,000 for married couples filing jointly. The policy will remain in effect through 2028 unless extended by Congress. And they're not going to extend that shit. They're not going to extend it at all. They're going to keep taking your money. That 22%, 25%. And matter of fact, there's people that don't believe that they're taking 51 to 52%, 53% of your money. I mean, they may be taking 17 out of your 17% to 18, 20%, whatever, out of your paycheck. But then whenever you take that money that's already been taxed and you go buy gas, that's taxed. Get your groceries, that's taxed. Anything you buy is taxed. Anything. So you figure all that out. Let's see. No tax on Social Security means no tax means that under the new legislation, known as the One Big Beautiful Bill again, starting in 2025, which is this year, 88% of seniors receiving Social Security benefits will owe no taxes on their payments. This reform introduces a new tax deduction for $6,000 for individuals and age 65 and older, and $12,000 for married couples, effectively eliminating taxes on Social Security income for the vast majority of retirees. However, always got to be that however, it's important to note that this provision does not entirely eliminate taxes. Of course not. On Social Security, It primarily reduces the tax burden for most seniors. Of course it won't reduce it. I mean, I don't get why they even introduce this kind of stuff if they're not going to follow through. And if you don't follow through with everything, well, uh, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I don't agree with all this tax stuff. All of it's just a bunch of ways to steal your money. There's people in DC that have gotten in DC with, like, say $100,000 in their account. They've been in there 2, 4, maybe 6 years, come out with 30, 40 million in their account. I mean, do the math. I mean, Nancy Pelosi is just a little pick. 200 something thousand dollars. She would have to be in Congress for over 3,000 years in order to make that kind of money at her pay scale. But you guys do that math. I saw something. Maybe you might want to correct me. I saw something that they said they put a $10 million putt-putt course over in some other country. That's red flag city right there. Anyway, you got to think about all that stuff. Anyway, this is about a 12-minute video, so please sit back. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to give you all my final thoughts here. Life is about moving on, accepting changes, and looking forward to what makes you stronger and more complete. So with that being said, you've got to overcome this garbage that all these politicians are putting out and everything like that. And also, another saying that I do have is that you never, ever have paid taxes. Never. Money is stolen from you, and you're labeled as a taxpayer. Do you understand that? All right, people. Let me know your comments. All right. Flint's out.